Americans, Module 1, Lesson 13. In Lesson 12, we covered the text and notes tools. And in this lesson, we're going to be covering the last few elements of the drawings panel. Now, first up, for those of you who like to have a little bit of fun, like to add a little bit of character and humor, perhaps, you can explore. These are all the emojis that you guys can add. These are just the general smiley faces. These will be generally creatures and whatnot, food, if you can add anything, sports. But once you start looking at this, perhaps you might want to include a few in some of your drawings at some point. Pens, rulers, that kind of thing. If you want to look for certain symbols like watch out or caution, that will be in here, much like any sort of device or software that uses Unicode, you can apply these. So just for a little bit of fun, we're just going to add, when we add that, click there, and that adds it. And again, you can resize it, you can move it. There's a little rotate, that kind of thing, right? Fantastic. Now we've explored the ruler. This is just a normal magnifying glass that wherever you select will zoom into a specific area. Right. And like you should know, you should be able to then manipulate the TradingView charting area to get it kind of back to where you want. You can obviously zoom out as well. So once you've zoomed in, see that you have the opportunity to also zoom out. Now, the magnet tool, we don't really utilize too much. If you see, there's a little side arrow as well. Weak magnets, strong magnets. And yeah, if you hover over it, you'll just see it'll give you some more information. It snaps the drawings near to the opening high and low close values within that. Don't utilize too often. But the next one is pretty convenient. So for instance, you're adding in a bunch of arrows. All right. This is our arrow tool. And we draw arrows, right? And you would remember that in previous sections, you'd be able to customize the color, thickness, style, etc., right? But now you want to draw another arrow. So you got to go and click this again, right? That's a little annoying, especially when you keep on adding a few arrows, right? So what's pretty convenient with this one is keep drawing. Now, once you've clicked that, you selected the tool that you want to use, and you click, right, and there are your arrows. And instead of now having to select the same tool again, because you've activated this, you're able to just continue adding in a whole bunch of the same thing until you turn it off, or perhaps you want to select something else. So let's go price note. You see it's still activated. There's a price note there. We'll add one over there, add one over there until you're done. That's it. That's pretty convenient, right? Lovely. Now, what happens if I use my cursor tool and I'm wanting to move the chart around? That's great, right? You can click and drag anywhere in the negative space and move your chart. But now, for instance, you're wanting to move an arrow, right? You click and you select it and you're like, cool, that one over there, this one, let's go over there, right? But sometimes, for instance, you click here and you want to move the chart, and the next thing you're like, oh, I'm moving the arrow instead, and you click and you're like, oh, okay, annoying. So what's pretty convenient is that you can select this, lock all drawings. And if I were to click this now, it doesn't move the image. These images are staying in place. It doesn't mean I can't delete it, either using that icon because it's selected, or the delete or backspace key, depending on which operating system and device you're using. So this is pretty convenient in case, you do move your chart around fairly often and you don't want to grab one of these and by mistake move it. Even if that is selected, the whole chart doesn't move because why? Those drawings are locked until, for instance, I want to move the chart, but by accident, I select that instead. So pretty convenient tool that. Now, for instance, if you were wanting to quickly show just the candles or show something around this specific trend or whatever it is, just by looking at that, and this is all a little distracting, or you're like, oh, okay, I don't want people to see all my arrows, my terrible drawings, and that kind of thing. What you can do is there's a little eyeball and a paintbrush indicating drawings with a little pop-out menu. So what you can do is you can hide all of your drawings. If you didn't want to show not just the drawings, but you also wanted to hide the indicators. All right. So the indicator there would have been the volume indicator, which is right at the bottom there, which you can't see right now, right? If I click this and deselect it again, it pops up at the bottom, right? Very low volume indicator. But if you had a bunch of other indicators, which at some point in the future you will have, and you just kind of want to hide the indicator as well as the drawings, you can do that. All right. You can select individuals, or what you could do as well is click hide all. Simple enough, pretty convenient. Okay, positions and orders. This is something to do with when you are using TradingView to trade, which means that you're going to connect your TradingView account to the exchange of your choice using third-party software. So that is entirely up to you, but that's when you might be placing orders for gold or crypto or whatever else it might be. And those positions and orders would be reflected here on the chart. And you can literally click hide all to show everything again. Just click that icon. Now, for instance, I'm like, all right, I'm done with all of these. I don't need them anymore. What you can quite simply do is you can remove all of the drawings, or you can remove the indicator, which would be the volume one, as indicated here, or you can remove both of those as well. Now, bear in mind, sometimes if you lock a drawing tool, whether it be that one, you can lock it. For instance, that arrow there, and I'm just going to lock this wolf. All right, and you'll see these ones, they're still unlocked. This is still unlocked, right? And what that means, if a tool or drawing tool or something like this is locked, if I wanted to delete this and I hit the trash can, it's going to give me a warning message. So sometimes you want to keep certain indicators, but remove everything else. So I'm going to say keep that. And because these two over here are locked, and if I were to go to here, remove 11 drawings, it's going to ask me if it also wants to delete the locked ones, which would be that arrow and that fox or that wolf. And I'm going to say, cool, delete everything except keep the locked ones. All right, so nice way to clean up the chart. The other option, what you can do is remove the two drawings and say, yes, remove them. But if you always want to clean your charts, remove all the drawings that you've had, what you can do is also toggle that on, meaning that when you remove the two drawings, it's not going to ask you if you want to keep them. Cool. So that is the bulk of all the drawings tools within the drawings panel, which is pretty exciting. And in one last lesson, we're going to be covering the watch lists. All right. How do we tidy this up? How do we add? How do we sort this out? It's going to be a great one. And there's some exciting stuff following that after lesson 14. So do join us for that one as well.